everyone. Welcome to another episode of Bees Buzz with Stevie D. This show will be going into the past games of the week, and we will be talking about the upcoming schedule. I'll be right back with myself and my co-host, G. Hikes. Here we are with episode 4 of Bees Buzz, and my co-host G Hikes. How you doing today, G Hikes?
Stevie, I'm doing all right. A little warm the last few days here. Geez, I hope we're not going to get spoiled here, and then all of a sudden probably go back to the cold weather. Oh well, that's New England. You know, if you don't like the weather, just stick around.
It's hockey season. I want it cold.
Right, exactly. I'd like to get it a little bit colder so I can fire up that wood stove down in the basement and start watching some hockey games down there. But anyways, yeah, Bruins review over this week. First of all, they played the Avalanche. That was a Columbus Day game. And Colorado forward Daniel Briere scored with 0.4 seconds left to give the Avs a 2-1 victory on Columbus Day at the TD. A 17,565 sellout, as usual. But anyways, the Bruins' backup goalie, Nicholas Svedberg, he got his first start of the season after that ugly loss 4-0 to the Capitals on Saturday. Claude Julien decided to go with him and give Tuukka a little bit of a rest, but he deserved a little bit better fate as he stopped 28 of 30 shots. Although that first goal that Jamie McGinn scored, it was kind of a fluttered wrist shot that just kind of found its way by Svedberg for the Avs' only goal of the game. The only goal in the first period, I should say. But anyways, the Bees tied it up very quickly on a power play goal, and Riley Smith took a shot that hit Soderberg in the chest, and with his back to goalie Rito Berra. I didn't know Yogi Berra had a relative that played hockey.
Yeah, wow, huh?
He passed it over to Louis Eriksson, who put it in at 7:50 of the second period to tie up the game. But, you know, both of these teams are kind of like playing with similar situations. They both have been struggling offensively. In fact, actually, the Avalanche hadn't even scored a goal up until this game.
Exactly.
So both teams were pressing, and let me see. Berra came up with a nice big save on Miljan Lucic, and the Avs also had a goal called back by Ryan O'Reilly high stick. And old friend Jerome McGinley, he played 17-17, had no shots, one hit, was a +1. He had 2 good scoring bids, but he couldn't capitalize on them. So, that was kind of a heartbreaker at the very, very end there. Svedberg got a shot on net, and he made the initial stop, and then missing in action were Bartkowski and Seidenberg, and they just left Briere all alone in there to get the rebound and put it in all alone, you know, So at least the Bruins did play a better game, a little bit more solid, obviously, because the game could have went either way. Also, too, they also brought up Seth Griffin. He also got a chance to get into his first
had a good game.
NHL game too. Yes,
he was there a lot, had a lot of touches, and skated well.
Yeah, I only watched the highlights of this game, Steve.
Yeah, it was.
I was out of town, but
it was a typical afternoon matinee Bruin game. But you know, you touched on something with the teams having a lot of like. It was almost like watching the same two teams play. It was remarkable. Colorado's a lot faster, but they looked a lot similar in the way they carried themselves on the ice. So the game was up for grabs, definitely, but the shame of it was that habit that the Bruins are continuing from the last couple of seasons, and mostly last season when it finally started to get noticed as this blowing. not so much leads, but also these late period game goals by the other team. It's almost like they stop playing thinking that the game's automatically going to go into overtime. And guess what, Bruins? The other team doesn't think that, okay? They keep coming and they score. But they keep doing it over and over again. And Seidenberg, you mentioned, he was all over the rookie there who played really good. Is it McDonough? I can't think of his name for Colorado. He was a rookie last year. He won the Rookie of the Year.
Yeah. What's his name?
He got the assist on the Briere goal.
Yes, yeah. I know who you're talking about.
Seidenberg was all over the guy, stick checking him. And I'm yelling at the television, hit him, knock him off the puck. Then he starts following him to the blue line, and I'm like, and then Seidenberg gave up on him and went back to play defense, which he didn't even do. And the guy we can't think of gave the puck to Briere, and I'm saying, this is not good. No, he didn't give it to the guy at the point. I'm sorry. And he shot the puck, and Briere's standing there all by himself, just like that video we showed from the couple of episodes ago with Briere standing behind the defense. There he was again. And I just don't understand the same mistakes over and over by this team. And then I watched them again last night. I'm not a happy camper today, Bruins fans.
No, definitely. I think that guy's name is McKinnon.
McKinnon,
Nate
that's
McKinnon,
it.
yeah.
Yes.
That's what it is. I was trying to think, and then all of a sudden it just hit me. But
good hockey player.
Yes, definitely. But anyway, so Bruins play Wednesday night, and it's hockey rivalry night. It's an NBC-SN game. And it's probably the Bruins' best game of the season so far. They snapped out of their 3-game losing streak with David Krejci and Riley Smith, the only Bees to score both in regulation and in the shootout, with the 3-2 victory at the Joe versus their new rivals, the Detroit Red Wings. The Bees outshot the Wings 35-18 in regulation. If it wasn't for goalie Jimmy Howard, that was the only reason that game was not a blowout. He made some great stops, especially at the end of regulation. He made some great stops on Dougie Hamilton lifted one that he just batted out of going in the net, and also too Simon Gagne with his first Bruins game. He also had a great opportunity too.
Rob Kelly twice.
Yeah. In the overtime, he also robbed Torrey Krug on a nice shot too.
Right.
But David Krejci had a great game. He scored his first goal on a breakaway as he was being hacked by Kings defensemen, but somehow he was able to beat Jimmy Howard glove side for his first goal of the season. Thomas Tatar, he tied it a little bit more than 3 minutes later, picking up a loose puck at the bottom of the face-off circle and beating Tuukka. Tuukka also made a great stop on a breakaway bid by Wings Luke Glending. And Riley Smith gave the Bruins the 2-1 lead, one-timing a pass from Bergeron for his second goal of the season. But
Marchand got a good assist on that too.
Yeah. So that game that was a nice bounce back game for the Bruins, and I'd have to say that's probably their best game all season long.
What I liked was Krejci scoring carbon copy goals, even though one was on the shootout, but it was the same move. Same spot on Howard when he stick handled and got him on his left side, Howard's left side. That was the game they won in the shootout, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So it was it was a lot of positives in that game, and like you say, that game could have been a blowout by the Bruins if it wasn't for Howard. He definitely kept Detroit in that game, so that was definitely a plus. And was the first game Lucic started finally showing a little bit of light. He's starting to come back to himself, but that's the positive part.
Yeah, right.
There was a time that he got the puck and took it for the Red Wings behind the blue line of the Red Wings zone. And I said, is he wearing a Red Wings jersey? And he skated the puck all the way into the Boston end and gave it to the defenseman. And I didn't see, we weren't killing the penalty. And it almost resulted, it didn't result in a goal, but almost. Anyway. But yeah, there was some positives. And we move on to Montreal, where a back-to-back game.
Yeah.
A opening game for the Canadians in Montreal, so that fires you up.
Right.
The NHL schedulers don't like the Bruins, folks.
Yeah, speaking of that, the Bruins, okay, the 4 times that they play the Canadians this year, all 4 for the Bruins are all back-to-back games, whereas the Canadians only have 2 back-to-back games playing against the Bruins. That's a real screwed up schedule.
It's awful.
But I'll tell you what, though, that game
Unacceptable.
Yeah, it is unacceptable. I totally agree. That game last night, though, that almost seemed like playoff hockey. I mean, the Bruins offense,
It was.
The Bruins offense,
A
which
good
has
game.
been missing most of the season, finally showed up. They had only scored 6 goals in the first 5 games. They scored 4 goals last night against the Canadians, and but the defense. Big problem. They were a combined -9, including a less than stellar performance by Tuukka Rask, who, by the way, also too. Last Monday was Thanksgiving Day in Canada, so I guess maybe some of the fans were still celebrating there because I think it was in the second period. Tuukka Rask was greeted to a blue laser light show.
Yeah, I saw the film.
They did ask him, and he said that he did see it, but it didn't affect him. But I'll tell you what, like Jack Edwards made a point. He goes, 97% of the Canadian fans are good fans. They're very loyal fans. But there's that 2 or 3% that it's like, it's just so stupid. It's not necessary. And like you were talking about when we talked about last week about how the respect for the Canadian fans has taken a notch down as far as we're concerned, and that even makes it worse.
The team, the hockey, it's Canada's sport, and they're embarrassing it.
Yeah.
Making a damn joke of their own sport.
Right. But
unacceptable.
Unacceptable again. I like that, Steve. Unacceptable, and also unacceptable too. Tuukka Rask let in 5 goals and then the Canadians scored 1 open netter in the 6-4 loss at the Molson Center last night. Normal sellout crowd of 21,287 fans. The Bees got on the board first. The Z-Man deflecting in a power play goal from David Krejci and Lucic getting the assists.
Right.
The Habs tied it up with Dennis Seidenberg in the penalty box for holding the stick penalty.
That was a horrible call, though.
Yeah, it was.
How do you hold a stick and then you end up on the ice?
Yeah, right, exactly. The same officials must have been officiating the Patriots game yesterday. But that's another story for another time. But anyways,
right.
Max Pacioretty.
That's a whole show.
Yeah, exactly. Max Pacioretty scored a power play goal to tie it at 1 in the first. In the second period, the Habs took the lead on a Gallagher goal. I think that was that the one that was deflected partially by McQuaid, I think, to take the 2-1 lead. I know Gallagher had 2 goals. I'm trying to remember which one it was.
That was, one of them, McQuaid, instead of playing the body and knocking him off the puck, he stick-checked him.
Right.
And he got the step on him, and McQuaid was forced to make a stick check, a dive. And as he dove to knock the puck away, he kind of gloved it while he slid across the ice. He gloved it right into the net.
Yeah. And
sloppy.
Very sloppy. So then the Bruins answer that with 2 goals in like 3 minutes apart. Carl Soderberg, he scored his first goal of the year from Kelly and Franzen. Then Louis Eriksson scores the second of the year, assisted by Krug and Kelly.
That was a good goal.
Yeah, it was. Bees go ahead 3-2, and they seemed to have control of the game at that time. They were dominating.
Right.
They were winning the battles in the corners, getting the pucks in deep in the offensive zone. But then again, it's like the Twilight Zone. At 18-11, the Habs rookie Yuri Sakic knocked in a rebound on Tuukka Rask. Then, with just 23.2 seconds left, J.P. Parento, he sniped one on Tuukka to give the Habs a 4-3 lead. And then that Molson Center, that place just erupted. But you know what? I don't care where you're playing. If you let up 2 goals like that at the end of the period, especially one with less than a minute left, that's a big momentum breaker.
And Edwards kept saying the place was all charged, ready to explode, and I missed it. Thankfully, I had switched over to the Patriots at that point. And then it was like 3 minutes left. They went to a commercial. So let me check on the Pats. Pats had the ball. I watched it. I came back. It was like 20 seconds. Marchand got a penalty call, and it was 4-3. I went, holy mackerel, the Canadians got 2 quick goals. I'm glad I missed that.
Yeah.
I rewound it on the DVR and watched it, and I was like, oh, I'm glad I missed that live.
But, the Bees never recovered from that. In the third period, Gallagher scored his second goal of the game to make it 5-3. And Tuukka looked bad on that one. So Claude Julien yanked Rask, and he put him back up Nicholas Svedberg. The Bees got it to 5-4 when Simon Gagne scored his first Bruins goal. The puck deflected off his skate off a Luch rebound with 5:49 left. But any hopes for a miracle comeback went south of the border when Luch, who got leveled by Emelin in the first period, went after him, clobbered him into the boards, and he picked up a penalty with 1:20 left in the game. And then P.A. Parento, he scored an open net power play goal to seal the game for the Habs. But
well, Luke was one of the guys he told last year he was going to come back and kill. So
yeah, right, exactly. Well, the guy that Weiss guy, he
Weiss
wasn't
didn't
playing
play.
last night,
No.
so he couldn't kill him.
he couldn't get him.
You know, but I guess some positives out of this one, Steve, were
There were a few.
yeah, well, first
a lot.
Yeah, there were. Gregory Campbell, he was back in the lineup.
And he
that
played
was nice
well.
to see.
With
Yeah,
a little bit ice time.
right. Kelly, Soderberg, and Eriksson line had another strong game, accounting for 2 more goals. I thought Torrey Krug, he looked good in the game. That was a nice fake shot, taking the
That was a good
Canadian
play.
defenseman out of the play.
Right.
And then he was able to take the shot at the net, and then Eriksson got credit for the 4th goal. Luch, albeit the stupid penalty at the end of the game, and the gesture to the fans, and he also got fined $5,000 for that.
Yep.
But I gotta say, I mean, I did like that when he held up
Yeah.
held up the Stanley Cup. And as far as the gesture goes, I just think he was signifying to that fan that they were all downtown on St. Catherine Street.
That's all.
Know? But I guess the NHL doesn't have a sense of humor, so
No.
they fined him $5,000. But
But that's part of hockey.
that is part of hockey. Gagne got his first goal, and he's looked pretty good so far. I'd like to see the Bruins keep him on the same line with Luch and Krejci to see what he can
definitely.
do. And Gagne, this is also some good news too. Gagne also saved a few bucks because he had relatives going to the game because he's from Quebec City. But anyways, his cousin has a suite at the Molson Center, so he didn't have to spring for as many tickets. So
great.
that kind of sounds a little bit like a Geico commercial.
I know.
But
Wow.
Anyway, so good for him. Some of the negatives, I think I had mentioned earlier, is the Boston defense was a -9. Seidenberg and McQuaid still not playing all that well. Bartkowski, he didn't have a good last game, so he was not dressed last night. Marchand, Steve, seems to be coming on, but you know what? He still seems to be taking some stupid penalties, like
And
that
he's
one with
snake-bit
like
stupid
that one
penalties.
with Subban with that embellishment.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
the hook, underneath.
The stick.
Yeah, the stick. I mean,
Dirty. He's a dirty player. It's a shame. He's not going to change, I guess, and I don't like it. I don't like dirty players on the Bruins. It's one thing if you're chippy, but the stick work, the whole team's stick checking too much, but we'll get into that.
Yeah. Tuukka, 23 shots, only 18 saves. That, like I said, that's unacceptable.
Yeah.
And I think Tuukka's the first to admit that he needs to definitely improve there.
He's been playing a lot of hockey. They all have.
He has been. Yeah, that's for sure. That's a tough thing for him back to back, and hopefully
against the Canadians,
Yeah, hopefully Svedberg gets a little bit more experience in some of these back to back nights. They can use him maybe for the lesser of the two evils.
Well, I mean, you had Johnson here from last year, but again, I guess the cap. I don't know.
Right. That's what it came down to. Was I think he was looking for more money. They were gonna have to pay him over $1 million, so they just couldn't afford him. But and then of course we mentioned the scheduling. I think that's a negative too. And in the Bruins' 6 games so far, they're 2-4.
Right.
With 4 points. They've scored 11 goals and they've given up 17.
Right. So there's definitely a lot of work that needs to be done. They just. I don't know. This snake bit in the goal scoring. Paille hitting the post and misfiring.
Yeah, that's Paille's done that. What?
Yep.
At least twice this season.
Yeah,
so
and
far.
I don't know if Marchand needs an eye doctor. He just can't hit the net.
Yeah,
You
right.
know, but he hits the goalie good.
Yeah.
And when, like again, you see him puck handling out there. The guy is great with the puck.
Sure he is.
Seidenberg, you know, he gets a little bit of a break. He didn't play last season, but he's right now. To me, he's absolutely horrendous out there.
He's a liability out there.
Bumping into the goalie. He's a goalie. He's standing around with puck watching. He doesn't. He's out of position. He's horrible. He's not doing anything offensively either. You know, I was never a favorite. He was never a favorite of mine, and I started to gain respect when he was out for the playoffs last year. And I says, "Geez, I never realized this team's better with him." You know, and I'm thinking that maybe he does make a difference. But you know, I argue with people. Defense was not a problem in the playoffs last year.
Right,
it was scoring goals.
Right.
So. To me, they could trade Seidenberg tomorrow. It wouldn't bother me. I just don't think the guy's that good. McQuaid, however, I have a lot of faith in him. He's hard working, hard hitting player, and he just has had some bad breaks lately.
Yeah, and I just think that him and Seidenberg just really there's some sort of a communication.
Yeah, there's a problem with them.
There's a problem between the both of them
and maybe that's the issue.
Yeah, I think it's more the issue maybe in McQuaid, whereas I think Seidenberg.
Yeah.
I think he's just not completely ready yet to go back to being that stay-at-home defenseman that he was.
Is,
and
right.
that's always been his his niche with the Bruins.
Right. I mean, you know, like you say, last year I wasn't really impressed with him until the playoffs came and he wasn't there. And I'm like, wow, we really miss him. But I don't know. We'll give him a break though, since he's just coming back from practically the year off. But
right.
and you know, it's not just him; the whole team. Lucic, I could keep talking about him. He did show some signs last night. I kind of liked the fact that, you know, because he didn't really board that guy on purpose. If you notice, he cleared the puck in, and then he turned to curl back, almost like he knew Lucic was coming.
Right.
I mean, I've never seen a guy turn away from the puck and after clearing it in.
Yeah.
So it kind of was not an intentional boarding, but it was boarding. But I like to see Lucic get that fire in the belly back. I like what he did with the crowd. You know, like I say, show it on the ice, not to the crowd. But you know something? It shows that he's getting that fire back.
At least he seems to be playing now with some heart.
Right.
You know, and he's got that Bruins spirit in him. And it was also nice to see him pick up 2 assists last night.
Right. He's getting some shots. He's getting in there. He's had a lot of scoring opportunities the last couple of games. Is he back to the Lucic we used to? No, and he's a long way off. I don't know if he'll ever be back, because sometimes I wonder if he's been hit too much in the head, if he fell down into the boards too much, because sometimes I look at him out there. I'm telling you, G-Hikes, it's like he doesn't even know where he is.
Yeah.
He throws the puck ends up, when he gets the puck in the ice, outside of the goal that he's trying to put the puck in, outside those 2 playoff circles in the opponent's zone, when he gets the puck there, it ends up on the other team's stick somehow.
Right.
He either throws it into their skates, or he tries to mispass it, or he throws it out of the zone, or one game last week, he was skating it out of the zone, brought it down the other end, and passed it to the defenseman, like I said, like it was shorthanded. And then he was in the zone. I think it was against Washington. Washington had 5 guys on the ice, but it wasn't a power play. And the Bruins had the 5 defenders in there. And, you know, Washington was keeping the play in. The puck went to Lucic along the boards. Now, I'm waiting for Lucic to just poke it off outside the board, ice it, do something with it, get it out of the zone. He passes it back to the defenseman. Who does that?
Yeah, I know.
They're not killing a penalty. They don't. They're not. Well, you know, just 3 guys in the zone and 1 guy hanging out forechecking. Washington's putting pressure on us. Get it out of the zone. He passes it back to the defenseman. I said to myself, "Oh my God, this guy's going to give me a heart attack."
Yeah, like you said, he does seem lost out there, especially too when the Bruins seem to be trying to get the puck out of their own end, and he's near the blue line trying to ferry it out. He just doesn't seem to do a very good job with that. So he's got a ways to go.
You have a son. I coached hockey and baseball years ago, but they're not my own kids. But still, when you have a kid learning a sport, like when your 8-year-old gets his first pup-up out in center field, you're like this.
Right. Yeah.
Catch it.
Catch it. Yeah.
Or don't let it hit you. And it's when your first kid's skating on the ice and he touches the puck, you're kind of like, or just
Right.
do something good with it,
Yeah,
not
exactly. Right.
bad. That's how I am with Lucic when he touches the puck.
Yeah.
It's like he's never played hockey before. I'm like, oh my God, Lucic's got the puck. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
And I love the guy. I love the guy.
Like I
but
said, and I like his firepower. And I mean, like we were saying, that thing with the fans, maybe was a little bit too much or whatever. But you know what? Now he's got to take that, since he's showing his heart again, and let's put it to work on the ice.
right. That's all.
Let's get that spark going again.
I got faith in them all. They're gonna gel.
Yeah, I hope with Gagne added onto that line now, it'll give that line some stability, and hopefully he'll be able to to make it on that line. Because right now, with Eriksson, the way he's playing on that other line, I don't think I'd want to mess with that anyways.
No,
right now.
and
they're playing too well together.
Right, and he's getting in the dirty areas, which a lot of the players aren't. And another thing I noticed is kind of strange is I don't know if they're firing the puck so darn hard or if it's the goalie's equipment or what, but it seems like every rebound is like coming way back out.
Yeah. Well,
to the blue line. Yeah. I'm like, wow, you can't even get a rebound.
Right. Well, you know what? This since I know from being a goalie myself and just how the goalies are, a lot of the goalies in the beginning of the season here are starting off with new goalie pads.
Yeah, it could be.
And even though it takes a couple of weeks to break the goalie pads in practice, some of these goalie pads are still very lively, because I've seen it myself, where it's like a goalie makes a save, and the next thing you see, the puck's halfway up halfway towards the end, and it hits the boards and deflects out. The
only one who did that was Jerry Cheevers with those dead pads, where the puck would just drop right in front of you, but he kicked the thing into the balcony, for crying out loud, or whack it with the stick.
Yeah, and of course
Billy Smith.
Yeah, those guys were, especially Cheevers. I think he was the first one that really started to rove, Jacques Plante used to rove a little bit out of the net, onto the sides, but Jerry Cheevers would be the first one that if he noticed there was a line change, he would skate the puck at least halfway in his own zone and pass it off to one of the Bruins
players. He'd bring it up to the red
open.
line.
Sure. Yep.
But no, the thing, things are looking a little dismal right now, but it's a busy schedule and a lot of travel back and forth, juggling of the lines, juggling of the players, trying to find that extra player for that rookie spot, and Gilner's replacement. But Gagne has been a plus. He hasn't played in 18 months, and he's starting to get his legs back and his hands back.
Yeah.
A little early to pick on the coach, but if things don't change, don't be surprised, in my opinion, if something happens there. I just think he concentrates on defense too much. It's just hockey, to me, is defense is important, but you have a goalie there. And if your goalie stands on his head, teams will play more for offense because they have faith in the goalie.
Right.
Whereas when you've got a goalie that doesn't do as well as many, you play a defensive tighter game. Where Julian just keeps, you see it, there'll be a shot on net, and if it doesn't seem to go in the right direction, you got players that are already curling back. I'm like, where you going? There was an incident last night where Lucic was on the blue line. And I don't know if it was Gagne or whoever was up, and he just, instead of forechecking, he just turned around and came back in, and then the Canadian that had it skated it all the way down the Bruin zone, and then a couple of things happened, and it was, I think, the fifth goal. And I'm watching it going, what was that?
Yeah.
And it's the, when you play basketball, basically it's a game of you take turns. When you play football, you take turns. Okay, the defense has the ball, the offense has the ball. In basketball, all right, here, you take the ball, you come up, and I will take the ball. And it doesn't work like that in hockey. Hockey, the players are all, you may have the puck in the middle of the ice, then I have the puck. And then another guy has it, and it's back and forth.
Yeah, everybody's involved.
Everybody's involved. It's not a strategic where, all right, now get the defense on the ice. And let's, even in basketball, you hear defense, because the team with the basketball is on offense.
Right.
And until they either miss a shot or give the ball up, there might be a steal, just like there might be a fumble in football. Hockey doesn't work like that.
No. it's a lot easier in basketball for a guy that takes the ball from the hoop or out of his own zone to throw it down to throw it down to one of his teammates so he can have a good shot at the basket, because as you know, a basketball court, okay, it takes almost 4 basketball courts to equal one
hockey rink, right?
So in hockey, I mean, sure, once in a while you can get either a line change or a defenseman bringing the puck out, and all of a sudden he'll see somebody open and he'll take that chance, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Or the 2-line pass now that you can get away with. That's why they came out with that, to create offense.
Yeah, but for the most part, like you said, Steve, it's hard work that's going to get the puck up there.
Well,
and involved by everybody.
You want good defense?
Yes.
Hold on to the puck more.
Right.
And that's offense. If you possess the puck more than the other team, you don't need this brick hard defense.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying. Last night, in the second part of the game, Montreal had the puck the whole game, and even I think was it the Detroit. What game am I trying to? Oh, I think the Capitals game last Saturday that we really didn't talk about. But that whole game, it seemed like Washington had the puck the whole game. And the Bruins just couldn't do a thing. And in puck possession is key. And they have that have you seen that new stat, the Corsi stat? It's, I think one of the players, Corsi, came out with it. And it's basically like how many times, it's kind of like a plus minus. But it's more to see when you're on the ice, how much possession is in your zone or shots on net by not yourself, but more like the players around you. How many times you possess the puck. In other words, if you're on the ice and there's more shots on your goalie than the other team goalie.
Right.
It's basically what they look at. And they're using it now to judge the players' talents. It's called a Corsi stat. It's a new thing they're using. I'm not crazy about stats, but they do tell a lot. And players use it for contracts. But that's a perfect example of how the NHL is using puck control, basically, shots on goal now, and scoring chances as, to decide their strategies in games or their players. So if you're going to be playing a defensive style, I don't see how you're going to have a lot of good Corsi numbers.
No, because like I said, the Bruins will get a 2-goal lead in the middle of the second period.
Right,
and
and sit back.
They'll just sit back and play puck containment, and sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it just makes things worse, where all of a sudden they'll give up a quick goal or two, and then the game's tied up. It's funny you mentioned that, though, Steve. I actually brought this article. It was in Sunday's Herald, okay? And I had read an article in August in the Wall Street Journal on how that some of the NHL teams have started experimenting. I think the Rangers did it in training camp, and in some games, is to put a chip in the players' uniforms and track it like a GPS device.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyways, this article, it says Bruins GM Peter Chiarelli said the NHL may work with a firm that will use GPS technology to track player movements around the ice, where they start their shifts, where their shots come from, etc. And he said they're going to have to have a whole new bucket, so to speak, of stats and metrics. They're moving in what I consider the right direction. This is according to Chiarelli. So we'll have players' motion, players' location, and all that stuff in certain situations. This summer, they've memorialized the stats or analytics department. They've always used it from a hockey ops perspective, but he said, I know the coaching staff has a pretty good set of metrics that they use after each game, and after a number of segments, we're digging even deeper. He said, I think there's a role for it. It's a piece of information that's useful. We've got a staff that looks at it. We meet every week. We have an exhaustive analytics support following every game and following every 2-week segment. We feel strongly about it. We're not hanging our hat on it. It's an important piece of information. At the end of the day, you will still have to evaluate. You will still have to see the players and look at all the intangibles. Now, if this is GPS, okay, could we program in there for Lucic to score a goal?
Maybe.
What do you think? Maybe Marchand.
Maybe we could program the puck so when Lucic has it, we know where it's going.
Right, exactly. I can just see now, okay, Lucic comes in, and he comes in a breakaway, and he misses, and all of a sudden you'll hear, recalculating.
Yeah.
Recalculating, go around the net, turn around,
yeah.
drive it to the right side.
That might be what he needs. He'll be okay. And
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, Bruins fans. I'm not saying defense is not important. It is very important. But the Bruins have good defensemen. Yes,
Yeah.
it's been a little sluggish lately, but I don't think the Bruins have a big defensive problem. I think the problem is that Julian has just got drilled in their head to be. I said it before. You can't have a team full of Bergerons.
Right.
You've got to let some of these guys let loose. Look what happened with Ovechkin.
Yeah.
Me and you were talking about that. Now they have a coach. The coach said, "Look, Ovechkin's a goal scorer. If he can come back and play a little defense, that's a plus. But
Right.
put the puck in the net."
That's
And,
right.
You know, maybe that's the problem. Guys like Marchand, maybe he's trigger happy or trigger shy because he's afraid to come back. He can't make it back or something, and he's going to get benched. Whereas he should be trigger happy. Get out there, let me score some goals, coach.
Right.
I don't know.
And and last year,
That's why you're out there.
Yeah, last year I think that the Bruins were like third in the NHL in goals, which was pretty good considering that
Right.
they play such a defensive style. And I mean, they've lost. Okay, they lost Jerome McGinley, so that's 30 goals right there.
Right.
Okay, and they lost Johnny Boychuk. That's a few more goals. But at the same time, I think that you need to look at it and say, hey, listen, you know what? We brought in some more guys here. We should be able to go back to putting the puck in the net a little bit more
Right.
once they get these lines and everything all set. And like you said, it would be nice to see them just play a little bit more offensive. I don't think they have to play much more offensive, but a little bit would be nice.
Yes, a little more forechecking, a
Yep.
little more puck control, and But I mean, hey, I still right now they're not, but they are the best 5-on-5 team, and that's a plus. That's another thing. The power play has been dismal, but again, that could probably work out. New power play coach, maybe that'll change. But I love, like we was talking about. Chauer in front of that net, and we got a goal from it last night, So
Yeah, speaking of who is it? Doug Huda is one of the ones that's on the that's coaching the power play. He got hit in the head
Yes.
with a puck in Detroit on Wednesday night.
He was
and
right back out
He was
there
right back out
and
there
almost
with the
got hit
staple.
again.
Yeah, he was right back out there, and they even zoomed in and showed the staples on his head.
right, hockey players,
Yep,
you gotta love them.
exactly.
Chauer with the black eye that Lucic gave him with friendly fire, as Edwards said, and no, it's just one of those deals there with the defense. There's nothing wrong with playing great defense. I just don't want it to affect the offense when it comes to scoring goals. And last year in the playoffs, there weren't a heck of a lot of goals scored, and the Bruins golfed early. But you want to take a look at the schedule? You got the
Sure. I've got the schedule coming up. Some of the upcoming games for the Bees.
a little less hectic this week.
Yeah, they're going to take on the. They've got today off. Then tomorrow they're going to be back at it. They're going to be taking on the Buffalo Sabres at 7:00 p.m. at the Niagara Falls Center. The game is on Nesson. The Sabres so far, they're 1-3. They've scored 8 goals and they've given up 17. I actually was in the Buffalo area. Me and my son went to see the Patriots Bills game. But
you
anyways,
had a busy week.
yeah, we actually were able to. We actually stopped and saw the Ducks Sabres game last Monday. They lost 5-1. They didn't look good. We even saw Ryan Kessler score a penalty shot goal on Jonas Enroth, their goalie, and then the coach Ted Nolan, he just left Enroth out to dry and left him in there for the whole game. But after the game, Ted Nolan said that he goes, they were playing more like a peewee team with their lack of effort. But they just came off a win on Wednesday. Marcus Foligno, one of their brighter stars, he had 2 goals, and Torrey Mitchell added another. And then the shootout went 8 rounds before Zemkus Jurgensen's scored in the 8th round of the shootout for the victory. And also, too, they also have local guy, former Canadiens captain Brian Giunta on the team as well. So they haven't played very well, and neither of the Bruins. So except for spurts here and there. So I mean, this could end up being a very good game on Saturday, possibly. Because I think the Sabres they're starting to get hungry and they're going to be at home, but the Bruins should be able to, if they come out there and give it their normal effort, they should be able to win that game.
Right.
Bruins
against Sabres,
Yep.
7 p.m. live.
Right.
At the Odd in Buffalo. Is it still
at the
Odd?
Odd? No, they finally ripped up the Odd. Yeah, they took that down a couple of years ago.
Then we move on to the Sharks.
Yep.
Back home.
Yep. 2 days off, and then they're home Tuesday versus the San Jose Sharks at 7 p.m.
Jeez.
on Nesson.
No Patriots, no Bruins on Sunday.
Yeah,
huh?
right.
The good thing I have that NHL center ice.
Yeah, there you go. So far, the Sharks, their usual start, 3-0-1 with 7 points. They have 16 goals, 4 and 9 against. Left winger Patrick Marleau. He's got what is it? 5 goals, 3 goals, 2 assists for 5 points. Joe Thornton, no goals, 5 assists. Center Tommy Wingles has 3 goals and 1 assist, and of course we know that they're a great regular season team. They usually play the Bruins pretty tough, maybe not so much in the playoffs, but that's going to be a good tester for the Bruins because this team seems to be pretty hot right now. So.
Yeah, they're hot in the West, and then we come back to the East. Back to the we'll still be in the Garden against our Johnny Boychuk coming home with the Islanders.
Yep. That's going to be Thursday at home, 7:00 p.m. on Nesson. And the Islanders are off to a terrific start. In fact, actually, they're 4-0. They have 8 points, 19 goals, 4-12 against.
I watched them the other night. They were impressive.
In fact, actually, they just played the Sharks at a game in New York, and the Islanders won 4-3 in a shootout. And if you haven't got a chance to go on the NHL.com and look at the goal, they even have it highlighted on the right hand side as one of the things to look at. John Tavares, he scored the winning goal in the shootout, and he made a nifty move, kind of like similar to like you'd see Patrick Kane do. So I definitely take a look at that.
He's their captain now, isn't he? Tavares?
I believe he is.
Yeah, he's doing. They got a serious team this year.
They do.
Yeah,
And
they're looking good.
Their 2 most important players
My
are
buddy Johnny B will be happy with that.
John Tavares and Kyle Okposo. Tavares, these guys are line mates. Tavares has 9 points. And I'll tell you what, last year before he got injured, he was heading for that Art Ross trophy. And right now I'd have to say, he's definitely heading in that category.
Right.
Okposo has 7 points. And like I said, these guys are on the same line. Johnny Boychuk, who newly acquired from the Bruins, and Nick Leddy, who they also picked up. They're helping out on the D. Johnny Boychuk, so far he's got 2 goals and 4 assists.
Yeah.
He's also logging 25 minutes per game. And Nick Leddy's doing like 20 to 21. But anyways, so far, the people in New York have said that they've compared Johnny Boychuk, the way he's playing, to the Hawks' Brent Seabrook.
Right.
And we know what a tough customer Brent Seabrook is, although they believe that Johnny Boychuk is a little more mobile out there.
Right.
So anyways.
Johnny Rocket.
Yep, Johnny Rocket. So that's going to be another good tester for the Bruins. So, hopefully they can start to get things squared away starting in Buffalo and just keep it trickling all the way down because they've got their work cut out for them these next few games, albeit at least they have some days off to get some practices in and keep on working on their lines and maybe get some good defensive pairings going.
And I'm having trouble pronouncing the goalie's name, but Avila.
Halleck.
Halleck, yeah.
Yes, they actually picked him up. He started out with the Canadians. He played for played for the St. Louis Blues.
He was impressive the other night when I watched him.
Yeah, and then the Blues.
And they got Chad Johnson.
They've got a pretty good goalie tandem there. So, they're definitely going to be a tester. And, of course, the Sharks have Niemi in net. They also have another backup goalie. I can't remember his name, but he's actually played pretty well, too. And the Sabres, Enroth seems to be their main goalie right now.
And you were saying Halleck. That's right. He came from the Halik. He came from the Blues, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a good.
Yeah, he was getting Halleck and
Halleck.
what's his name? Elliott were a great
Right.
tandem for St. Louis for a couple of years. But last year, St. Louis actually brought up a goalie from the minors who played very well. So it made one of those two guys expendable and ended up being Halleck.
Right.
Yep.
So it's again, it's going to be a busy week for the Bees. At least they have 2 home games, and then they go on the road for another game. But we'll cover that after next week's show. Anything you'd like to add?
You know, just one other thing. If any of our viewers out there have been to any of the Providence Bruins or even any AHL games around here, they have a new rule in place that possibly could filter down to the NHL next year. What they do is on their overtime period, they'll play 4-on-4 for the first I think it's for the first 4 minutes or 5 minutes, and then they'll play 3-on-3
yeah.
for the next like 3 minutes. So I just like to get a little feedback from anybody who's been to any of those games and has seen this, and you know how.
I'd rather that than a shootout.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, eventually that will come to that, but I'll tell you what. You know, as you know, in the overtime period, it is a little more exciting with the 4-on-4, albeit
Right.
the ice is rough. Although this year in the NHL they do the
They
dry
clean
scrape.
it, yeah.
But I think that they're doing the dry scrape in the AHL as well, and then they're playing those. But you know, I definitely that if they get to that 3-on-3, I mean that's got to be really exciting hockey.
Yeah,
so
that would be fun.
So if anybody has any feedback or anything like that, send us something and let us know
Yeah,
if you've been
comment down below.
Yeah, if you've been to one of those games and what it's like from a fan perspective. I'm thinking that it's got to be pretty neat.
That's a good segue into my remark. My final words are that I just started a new Facebook page, Bees Buzz with Stevie D. So leave your comments there as well, and you can see this show there until we get a website up. But we're also on YouTube, and if you watch the videos, please click on the YouTube link and subscribe and like and comment and all that other happy stuff, so that YouTube keeps us around. Maybe we can go live if we get 1,000 subscribers, but we're a long way off. But for now, that'll bring us to our parting words for the day. I'll try to be nice if you can be mean, because I'm too critical with the Bruins. I need to hear you people be critical. It's not being a hater. It's just being critical. We love our Bruins. We always will. But when they disappoint, we're going to say so. With that being said, I'll be back next week with my co-host, G. Hikes. And have a good week and go Bruins.
Yes.
Very good.